Hello everyone, welcome to my channel English Literature Made Easy with Saswati. In today's video, I will talk about the Old English poem Beowulf. It has been adapted into several Hollywood movies, but in this video I will not talk about all those. I will be talking in detail about the poem Beowulf. So do stay tuned and watch the video till the end, and if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, then do subscribe to it and don't forget to hit the bell icon so that you receive all the updates and notifications regarding my upcoming videos. So let's begin with important background informations to the poem Beowulf. Beowulf is an Old English poem and it is heroic in theme. It is one of the most significant and translated work of Old English literature. It consists of 3,182 alliterative lines. Now you have to know what is alliteration. Alliteration is also called head rhyme or initial rhyme, where there is repetition of identical initial consonant sounds within a group of words. Let's take an example. When you say money matters, picture perfect, or Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers, you are using alliteration in all these lines. The date of composition and the name of the author of this poem is not known to anyone. Hence, the anonymous author of Beowulf is simply known as the Beowulf author. It is written in the West Saxon dialect of Old English. The only manuscript containing the poem is known as the Nowell Codex. The poem did not have any title in the original manuscript, and it has come to be known only by the main character or the protagonist of the story, Beowulf. The subject of the poem is the many battles of the Geatish hero Beowulf in his youth and old age. Now let's look at the unique feature of Beowulf. The poem actually begins and ends with a funeral. At the beginning, when Shield Sheafson dies, there is a huge funeral which spans almost 20 lines. And at the end of the poem, when Beowulf dies, there is again a massive funeral for him. And this description of funeral covers almost 30 lines at the end of the poem. Now let's look at the characters of the poem. The first character is Shield Sheafson. The poem Beowulf begins with Shield Sheafson. He is the founder of the Danish kingdom that begins with his son Bew. The Danes view Shield Sheafson as the ideal warrior king, as he provides the model of a great warrior king in Scandinavian and Anglo-Saxon societies. The second character is Bew. Bew is the son of Shield Sheafson and father of Hrothgar. Bew is considered to be a gift of God to the people in need of a leader. And Bew is sometimes also referred to as the other Beowulf in the poem. The third character is Beowulf. Beowulf is the protagonist of the poem, after whom the poem Beowulf is named. The fourth character is Halfdan. Halfdan is Bew's son and he succeeds Bew as ruler of the Danes. The fifth character is King Hrothgar. King Hrothgar is the son of Halfdan and grandson of Bew. King Hrothgar is the king of the Danes and a descendant of Shield Sheafson. The sixth character is Welviau. Welviau is Hrothgar's wife and she is the gracious queen of the Danes. The next character is Redric. Redric is Hrothgar's elder son. Redric's older cousin, Rodulf, betrays and usurps his throne. The next character is Hrothmund. Hrothmund is the second son of Hrothgar. The next character is Rodulf. Rodulf is King Hrothgar's nephew. Hrothgar betrays and usurps his cousin Redric's throne. Next character is Grendel. He is one of the three monsters that Beowulf battles in the poem. By lineage, Grendel belongs to Cain's clan, whom the creator has outlawed and condemned as outcasts. So he descended from a figure who epitomizes malice and resentment. He is the one who wreaks havoc on King Hrothgar's mead hall called Hero. The narrator hints that behind Grendel's aggression towards the Danes lies his jealousy and loneliness. The next character is Grendel's mother. Then we have the dragon. Then the next character is Estyre. Estyre is King Hrothgar's trusted advisor. He is killed by Grendel's mother. Then the next character is Hygelac. Hygelac is Beowulf's uncle and king of the Geats. The next character is Hygd. Hygd is Hygelac's wife and queen of the Geats. The next character is Queen Modred. Modred is the legendary queen who perpetrated terrible wrongs against her subjects, torturing and even killing many innocent people whom she considered and imagined were offending her. The poet positions her as a foil to the gracious-mannered and gentle queen of the Geats, Hygd. The next character is Hygd. Hygd is Beowulf's father and Hygelac's brother-in-law. Hygd is Danish King Hrothgar's friend. The poem Beowulf falls in two parts, and part 1 begins in Denmark. Now let's look at part 1. It opens in Denmark with a discussion of Shield Sheafson, who is the founder of the Danish kingdom. He began life as a foundling. Foundling is an infant abandoned by his parents, but he quickly rose to be strong and powerful. When he died, he was honored with an elaborate funeral ceremony. His body was cast off to the sea. It was put into a boat covered with treasures and armor. Shield Sheafson's son, the renowned Bew, became the king after his father's death, and after Bew, it was Halfdan. After Halfdan, Hrothgar ruled the Danes. King Hrothgar's splendid mead-hall, Hroth, is ravaged by the nightly visits from an evil monster, Grendel, for 12 years. Now let's see what is Hroth. Hroth is king of the Danes, Hrothgar's mead-hall. He constructed the great hall Hroth for himself and his warriors. In Hroth, Hrothgar, his wife Weldiau, and his warriors spend their time singing and celebrating. A monster named Grendel is pained by the sounds of joy. Grendel attacks the hall and kills and devours many of Hrothgar's warriors while they are asleep. Hrothgar and his people, who are helpless against Grendel, abandon Hroth. Beowulf, a young warrior from Geatland, hears of Hrothgar's troubles and with his king's permission leaves his homeland to assist Hrothgar. Now let's look at the first battle with Grendel, which is fought with hand without weapon. Beowulf and his men spend the night in Hroth. When Grendel enters the hall, Beowulf, who was feigning sleep, leaps up to clench Grendel's hand. Grendel and Beowulf battle each other violently. Beowulf's men draw their swords, but their blades cannot pierce Grendel's skin. Finally, Beowulf tears off Grendel's arm from his body at the shoulder and kills him. Beowulf hangs up Grendel's torn off arm at the door of Hroth for all to see. This display would fuel Grendel's mother to take revenge. Now let's look at the second battle with Grendel's mother. After celebrating Grendel's defeat, Hrothgar and his men sleep in Hroth, and Grendel's mother, who is angry that her son has been killed, sets out to take revenge. Beowulf was elsewhere in another lodging, and Grendel's mother then violently kills Hrothgar's most loyal fighter Aeschyl and escapes. Hrothgar, Beowulf, and their men track Grendel's mother to her lair. Lair is a private place where wild animals or monsters live under a lake. Unferth is a warrior of the Danish lord Hrothgar. He had doubted and insulted Beowulf earlier, but now he wishes to make amends and presents him his sword Runting. Beowulf jumps into the lake, and at the bottom of it he finds a cavern containing Grendel's body and the remains of men that the two have killed. Grendel's mother and Beowulf engage in fierce combat. Unferth's sword, Runting, cannot harm his foe, and Beowulf puts it aside with fury. Taking a sword from Grendel's mother, Beowulf slices her head off with it. In the lair, Beowulf discovers Grendel's corpse and severs his head. The blade of Beowulf's sword touches Grendel's toxic body and instantly dissolves, so that only the hilt remains. Carrying the hilt of the sword and Grendel's head, Beowulf presents them to Hrothgar upon his return to Hroth. Hrothgar gives Beowulf many gifts, including the sword Nightling, his family's heirloom. The events prompt a long reflection by the king, sometimes referred to as Hrothgar's sermon, where he urges Beowulf to be cautious against pride and to reward his warriors or retainers. Now let's look at the third battle with the dragon. Beowulf returns home and finally becomes king of the Geats. Almost 50 years after the second battle, Beowulf finds his realm terrorized by a dragon. Basically, a slave steals a golden cup from the lair of a dragon at Arnanas. On discovery that the cup has been stolen, the dragon leaves its cave in a rage, burning everything in sight. Beowulf attacks the dragon with the help of his thegns or servants, but they do not succeed. Fearing for their lives, the men retreat into the woods. Beowulf decides to follow the dragon to its lair at Arnanas, but only his young Swedish relative Wiglaf, whose name means remnant of valor, dares to join him. Together, Beowulf and Wiglaf slay the dragon, but Beowulf is mortally wounded. The dragon bites Beowulf in the neck and its fiery venom kills Beowulf in moments. Later, Beowulf dies and Wiglaf remains by his side, grief-stricken. When the rest of the men finally return, Wiglaf bitterly admonishes them, blaming their cowardice for Beowulf's death. Afterward, Beowulf is ritually burned on a great pyre in Geatland, and a barrow, visible from the sea, is built in his memory. His people wail and mourn him, fearing that without him the Geats are defenseless against attacks from surrounding tribes. Now let's look at the different translations and adaptations of Beowulf. Beowulf has been translated into at least 23 other languages and in 300 translations and adaptations. John Porter's translation, published in 1975 by Bill Griffiths' Press, was proposed to be the first complete verse translation of the poem, entirely accompanied by facing page Old English. And in the 20th century, if we talk about 20th century verse translation, we have to talk about Seamus Heaney's 1999 translation of the poem, which is called Beowulf, a new verse translation which was widely publicized. Heaney focused on rhyme and alliteration, making it suitable for modern readers. And if we talk about recent retellings, we have to talk about Maria Davana Hidley's The Mere Wife, which was published in 2018. It is set in present-day New York, and it is a retelling of the Beowulf story from the point of view of Grendel's mother. Kennings are significant verse technique used in Beowulf. Kennings are strongly associated with Old Norse and Old English poetry. A kenning is a metaphorical phrase used to name a person, a place, or a thing indirectly. There are many kennings in Beowulf. For example, well rowed and sail rowed. These words are used for the sea. Then shepherd of evil, which is used for Grendel. Battle sweat is used for blood. Sky candle is used for the sun. Sea wolf of the depths is used for Grendel's mother. Now let's look at Hrothgar's sermon. Beowulf presents Grendel's head to Hrothgar and briefly recounts his battle with his mother. Grendel's mother. The trophy of Grendel's head is more satisfying to Beowulf than the riches he might have retrieved from the cave of the ogres because of the important achievement it symbolizes. Assuring Hrothgar of Herod's safety, Beowulf places the gold hilt of the giant sword in Hrothgar's hand. This trophy, along with Beowulf's account of its magic, seems to bring on the king's reflective mood. He examines the hilt and speaks to Beowulf, giving a sermon on the dangers of fame and success and the vicissitudes of life. Hrothgar considers the ephemerality of human existence and the vanity of earthly achievement. Hrothgar begins by praising Beowulf, but quickly follows with a warning. If a leader is not careful, God's gifts can lead him to vanity. The Danes' chief example of a gifted king gone wrong is Hermod. Hermod not only failed to treat his people generously but actually killed other Danes in his own hall. Among other sins, Hermod indulged in hubris. Hubris is an overwhelming pride or arrogance that leads to outrageous behavior. Only the wise and mature realize that all glory is fleeting. Hermod lived a joyless life and justifiably suffered for the damage that he brought to his people. Hrothgar then turns to Beowulf, who has recently experienced his finest victory, and warns him to guard against the curse of pride. Beowulf is young and strong now, but his youth and strength will not last. Defeat and death wait for him, as they do for all. Hrothgar himself has ruled for 50 years and seen his own glory, but he too experienced failure and sorrow. Grendel's victories chased the Danes from Heorot and humiliated the old king. First joy, then sorrow. The message is repeated throughout Beowulf. Now let's look at Beowulf's farewell. After Hrothgar's sermon, feasts follow. Hrothgar's farewell to Beowulf is poignant and sincere. Tears running down his cheeks, Hrothgar embraces and kisses the young warrior as an aging father might treat a son. Hrothgar observes prophetically that Beowulf would make a fine king himself if the Geats should ever find themselves in need of one, and he indeed made a brilliant king and ruled for over 50 years. Now let's look at different criticisms of the poem Beowulf. Author and Merton Professor of Anglo-Saxon at the University of Oxford, J.R.R. Tolkien, calls Beowulf an elegy and not an epic. He says that the poem's focus is the concluding dirge. which is a mourning song sung at a funeral. The poem ends with the funeral song sung in honor of the dead hero Beowulf. Now let's look at the themes of the poem. Apart from the theme of heroism, Beowulf involves themes of Christianity and paganism. Beowulf has references of both pagan Germanic culture and Christianity. There are strong Christian references that run through the poem, and because of that, scholars believe that the poem was written following the introduction of Christianity in England in the 8th century. But the poem Beowulf deals with events of the 6th century Scandinavian, and the only surviving manuscript of Beowulf was written in the 11th century by a scribe who was probably educated in the Christian monastery. Hence, naturally, Christian elements were added. So the result was Beowulf retained its pagan elements together with Christian references. That's all for this video. I hope you learned something new, and I hope that this video will be helpful for your preparations of English literature examinations, be it competitive examinations or your university examinations. So if you like the video, then do like it, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you soon in another video with a brand new topic. Till then, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.